But he got a boss too, and his boss name is Clive Davis. Clive run him. Diddy don't run himself.
Okay, so while Diddy seems to be the top dog in the sex cult and hosting the freak-off parties, it has been revealed that Clive Davis initiated it.
More than just show music to Clive. According to many in the industry, it was believed that in the 1994 meeting, Diddy actually got on his knees for Clive Davis and did some extracurricular activities for him. It is also alleged that Diddy would then end up secretly dating Clive during this time for 5 years. For years, this has remained an unconfirmed industry rumor that no one really had any proof of for the longest. Well, that all changed back in 2013 when Clive Davis himself wrote in his memoir that he was indeed a bi man who was into men and women, openly confessing that he had secretly dated many men within the industry.
Comedian Eddie Griffin revealed that Diddy was smashing Clive Davis and was using recorded tapes as blackmail. Now the clips have been serving him well. He's not been arrested yet.
They sacrificing Diddy. They said, nigga, you gotta take this shit because we can't be involved. But Diddy's smart. He filmed every fuck session. So he was fucking Clive and the motherfucking freak boy that run Universal Music Group. So he got them on some fuck tapes. Now that's why they raiding the house, because they got friends in Homeland Security and the feds. And they said, get in there and get them tapes from this nigga. He trying to blackmail us. That's what I believe is going on.
Eddie wasn't the only one who could see through the unholy matrimony between Diddy and Clive Davis.
Get rid of that bullshit. Like the fairy tale they told you that Clive Davis, saved Puff after he was thrown out of Uptown Records by Andre Harrell. That was a bunch of bullshit, man. You understand? Puff got fired from that City College bullshit. Andre Harrell got tired of his shit doing this little bullshit. Some shit happened out in D.C. when people got trampled. You understand? People don't talk about that. I think a couple people probably died out there in that little concert he had put together because he was using, the people that he knew from Uptown and his connections to give parties. That's what he used to call Daddy House and everything like that. So when he got fired from them, it was people like D. Ferg, Eddie Up from Heavy D and the Boys, Tim Dog, people who was paying his car note, giving him a place to stay. You understand? People who was taking care of him, making sure he had money in his pocket. You understand? That was saving because the nigga was on suicide watch. D. Ferg said, yo, this nigga about to commit suicide the way he talking. So we had like a suicide watch out on this nigga. You understand? And then he got hooked up with Wolf and them butt naked. That was Buck and L. I think Buck probably went to school with him. Corey, he probably went to school with Puff. And he started this thing called Butt Naked. A booty ain't a booty unless it's butt naked. That was their code. And they used to give a lot of parties. And I was the guy at the front door of their parties. Because Tim Dog used to hire me, you understand, to make sure the outside was good. Because I had a crew like that. You understand? So the crew with the 12th Street Posse, Slick and the Family, we used to run all the outsides of all those heavy hitter parties. You understand? So it wouldn't be no situations. You understand? So Tim used to hire me to do the party. So Butt Naked, this is the same guys who was like, I heard before, and I can tell you, they was the real bad boys behind the situation. They was so much of bad boys that them niggas got 9, 16 to life sentences. And they just was pardoned by Obama. You understand? So, to know the truth of the matter, they was the one putting the money behind the engine of Bad Boy until Puff could get up there to Clive Davis. You know what I'm saying? What Andre Harrell didn't do was do the same shit that Puff used to do to motherfuckers and like have them blackballed. He could thank Andre Harrell for that because Andre Harrell didn't have him blackballed. See, Puff is the type of motherfucker, he'll go and tell motherfuckers, don't fuck with that guy no more. Don't do that with no guy. Don't do business with him no more. You understand? That's why you get the great artists like Craig Mack, Black Rob, you know what I'm saying? Them niggas who, got crazy jewels in the game that could spit their motherfucking ass off. They can't get work or jobs no more because Puff tell motherfuckers not to do business with them. You understand? And people who do business with him, he shade they motherfucking ass. I've seen it done too many times.
Diddy wasn't the only one Clive got with either. It was revealed that he tried to screw his male employees too.
Diddy and Clive Davis, have they ever had anything past business? Because to me, they seem to mirror each other behavior-wise. Like to me, they both got like that dark energy around them. Mm-hmm. But I almost wonder, like, well, damn, did they ever have anything sexual? I just wondered that.
Man.
Because they're very...
I know some guys who worked personally with Clive Davis, and they had to leave him before they hurt him. So I would say, and maybe I'm wrong, that if you tried it with them guys, why you didn't try it with him?
Right. But most likely.
And he never left Clive.
There we go. There we go right there.
If he tried it with those guys and they left,
yeah,
for fear of hurting him, you understand?
Exactly.
So why he ain't tried with him?
Makes sense.
Years ago, when Whitney Houston died, Clive Davis got a lot of heat for hosting a party while Houston's body was in the same hotel.
By now, sadly, you've all learned of the unspeakably tragic news of our beloved Whitney's passing. I don't have to mask my emotions, not in front of this room, full of so many dear friends. I do have a very heavy heart, and I am personally devastated by the loss of someone who has meant so much to me.
Whenever you saw Whitney, she always hit you with that beautiful smile. She always hit you with that incredible energy. She gave you that hug, that grandma hug, that just shook your body. That real love. Today, we didn't just lose one of our fellow artists. We truly lost an angel. And anytime we think of Whitney, we have to remember that positivity that she gave.
Nobody's buying that speech to this day. He still gets hate for that. Now, I can't say it's not justified, though.
Before I let you go, I just want to say a rest in peace to Gangster Boo.
Yeah.
Me and her were cool, man. She had been in my home. She had met my family. I had hung out with her maybe about a month before she passed. Onyx, Fredro Starr and Sticky Fingers had this little event that, she was at also. We hung out, took pictures, had a drink. I think we smoked a blunt together. She was, the queen of Memphis.
Down to earth like a motherfucker.
Down to earth.
Every time she see me. Yeah.
She was crazy. She was inappropriate. But that's what made her
she loud just
Gangster
like me.
Boo.
Loud just like me.
Loud.
Boo said, motherfucker.
She talked shit.
Yeah.
And she was just always just happy. And once again, I think it's fentanyl. I think that's what happened.
Fentanyl, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
That's what I'm hearing in Memphis, fentanyl.
Yeah, I mean, me and DJ Paul have always been cool, and he was telling me how I guess she was supposed to go home because she doesn't live in Memphis. She lives in L.A.
Okay.
Right? She lives out here. So she was just out in Memphis, just, visiting family or whatever. She was supposed to fly back, and I guess she had missed her flight or the flight got canceled. So she ended up staying one more night in Memphis and partying. Her and her brother, I think, got a hold of some bad drugs.
Drugs just fuck everything. I hate what it did to Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
I hate that. That woman was everything to me.
Yeah. Do you know that at the time that she died?
Her drugness, Blair, her drug made this whole fucking world lose respect for that woman.
Hmm.
You got DeMar Hamlin. The world is shaped up so much now, bro. We got DeMar Hamlin almost died.
Yeah.
And we stopped the game for him.
Yeah.
Almost died. But we got Whitney Houston. Lose her motherfucking life. And I just found out this reading. and you still had that motherfucking Clive Davis party?
Yeah.
The disrespect for that fucking woman.
Yeah.
The disrespect for Whitney. It's a fucking shame.
An attendee of the party exposed how it went down.
His body was still in the hotel, and there was this sort of party where apparently half the room were in tears, the other half were kind of partying. What did you feel about that?
I thought that was complete insanity. And knowing Whitney, I don't believe that she would have said, the show must go on. She was the kind of woman that would say, stop everything. I'm not going to be there. You know, I don't understand how that party went on.
I had Clive Davis by pure chance in here on Friday night with Jennifer Hudson, and he obviously worshipped Whitney, and I think he must have gone through agony when he heard this news, knowing it was 2 or 3 hours till this event.
Right.
And I think he took the decision to turn it into a tribute to her. And I understand that. I mean, he obviously was wrestling with the right thing to do.
That would have been right if it really was a true tribute, and, you know, and a true tribute, you know, might have been a truer, a more honest tribute from, in my opinion, would have been maybe call everybody together, let's say a prayer. I couldn't get dressed. I was supposed to go to the party. I just got off a plane.
Power. He loves the ability to manipulate and control people. Why? Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor, who loved to control people.
And his mentor was
Andre Rell.
Tell us how
who
was
was
he
mentored by Clive Davis.
This is the money. That's the money guy. That's where Diddy was getting all of his funds from.
A new lawsuit just came out that shows tons of evidence that P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, has been running a sexual blackmail operation very much like Jeffrey Epstein, but in the rap and music industry for basically 30 years. And in that lawsuit, we learned that his head of security while he's running the sexual blackmail ring is this guy named Fahim Muhammad, who before working for Diddy was the head of security for Michael Jackson when he was only 21.
Rumor has it, allegedly, Diddy got on his knees for Clive Davis in 1994, and that's how Bad Boy Records came about. Clive Davis is over Arista, which is over Diddy's Bad Boy record. Now, rumor has it, allegedly, Diddy got on his knees for Clive Davis in 1994, and that's how Bad Boy Records.
Did you let the party go on?
Of course, this is a personal thing. But the Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
You did a magnificent evening.
Into.
Did you give a thought to canceling?
Never.
You never thought?
Never.
Did you ever think?
And the family did not want me to give a thought. No.
At that point in time, how long had you worked security for Mr. Jackson?
Approximately 10 months.
And what were your responsibilities?
I was the chief of his security, so my responsibilities ranged from making sure his house was protected, making sure his children's were protected, and making sure his day-to-day activities and movement was all safe and planned and mapped out.
Yes, Jackson did say that the Jews are, we're probably referring to the Jews in the music industry, are like leeches and that they took everything from them and that they did it on purpose. But when you look into those allegations or those insults, you realize that because of his will that was probably fake and filed right before his death. So the will was signed on July 7th in Los Angeles by 3 witnesses. But Jackson's family pointed out that he was in New York that day and there's video proving it. So they changed their story. But the witnesses definitely saw it and it was just in New York. So anyways, because of this will, John Branca was put in charge of his estate, which included his net worth of $230 million, but far more importantly, his 50% share of Sony ATV worth $750 million. Yes, he was taking on Sony. He was going after the hand that feeds him. And when you look into John Branca, in 2003, Jackson fired Branca because he was siphoning money out of Jackson's accounts in collusion with Sony Music CEO Tommy Mottola and funneling it through a bunch of offshore accounts in the Caribbean. John Branca is Jewish, and Tommy Mottola is also Jewish. Plus, Tommy Mottola married Mariah Carey partway through his life when she was a young woman, and he was an old man. And there are other allegations about that whole situation you can look up on your own. In the first video I made about the Diddy case, where I broke down the whole thing, I went through a whole bunch of music executives that are involved in that case or that come about when you start looking into it. And every single person that I showed in that video that was not black was Jewish. Because whether you like it or not, whether you want to call people names about it or not, the vast majority of the power in the music industry is controlled by Jewish men. For most of Jackson's career, his head of security was Bill Bray, who was his mentor and basically his father. And the two were extremely close. Bill ran his security until he was 70 when he retired, and Jackson continued to pay his medical bills until he died at age 80. This is a letter that Michael Jackson wrote to Bill that is both really touching and really enlightens you as to the state of Michael Jackson's education and his perspective on the world and his life story. Pause if you want to read that. But then once Bill retired, Jackson was then protected by other security people that came and went. And he wound up with this guy who has direct connections to Diddy's sexual blackmail operations, who was directly complicit in covering up crimes for Diddy and covering up murders, covering up drug use, prostitution, human trafficking. This is the guy that was protecting Michael Jackson the day that he died. The day that he was overdosed on drugs after he was probably already asleep, and the only witnesses, there were no witnesses to the crime. I'm honestly kind of surprised that this guy never got checked into as a suspect. I suggest you re-examine the story of Michael Jackson and you re-listen to some of his lyrics. I bet if I include the song, they'll take the video down for copyright as a way to silence this video, but you should probably re-listen to the lyrics for "They Don't Really Care About Us." And if you find the censored version, you should probably find out what the words that they censored are. Looking up Fahim, and where did I find another article about him? On Penn State, the Wharton School. He didn't attend it as a student. He was invited as a speaker for this Wharton real estate entrepreneurship event, which makes perfect sense. He has a real estate investment company or whatever, but if you've been following along, you would know that the Wharton School comes up an awful lot when we're talking about intelligence agencies and people associated with the CIA and the FBI, etc. Just thought it was interesting that they invited him to be a honored speaker at their event. And now, here's the best part. Check this out. This is in all of his bios, by the way, but we're pointing it out now. In 2008, Fahim graduated from Sacramento State University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in real estate and marketing. Okay? Do you realize what's wrong with that yet? Anything coming to mind? When did Michael Jackson die? June 25th, 2009. Jackson died from cardiac arrest caused by a propofol and benzodiazepine overdose, caused by his doctor, apparently. Hold up. Hold the phone. Pause. Why is a dude who just graduated college last year with a business and real estate degree the head of security for the king of pop, for Michael Jackson, the most famous musician of all time? What's going on?
Personal life. You got married twice to women, but as you're very honest in the book about, you're bisexual and you've been involved in 2 lengthy relationships with men, including one now. What has been the reaction to these revelations in the book, and have you been surprised by it?
I've not been surprised, honestly, but firstly, from my family, from my children who've known, this wasn't that I was bisexual when I was married. This is something that only occurred after my second marriage failed. So for the first time, having failed in marriage twice, not related at all to sex, I opened myself up to the possibility of having a relationship with a person rather than a gender. And that's what I turned to. But I found that the attitude in general towards bisexuality is you're either gay, you're straight, or you're lying. Right. For me, it's not been that case.
My focus right now is Sean Combs.
Okay. Tell us why. Tell us why.
Because he's a sex trafficker. And he's using music and entertainment to sex traffic.
Now, is this just boys, girls, adults, kids? I
mean, from what I've heard from sources that I would consider reliable, it really doesn't matter.
Wow.
I don't think sexuality is something that has anything to do with gender at this point for Sean. I honestly think he's just an extreme narcissist who loves power. He loves the ability to manipulate and control people. Why? Most likely because he was victimized by his mentor, who loved to control people.
And his mentor was
Andre Harrell,
Tell us how
who
was
was
he victimized?
mentored by Clive Davis.